He's a former FDA commissioner and a CNBC contributor who also serves on the boards of both Pfizer and Illumina. And Scott, I've kind of been hearing rumblings about this new variant. I have to admit, I have not delved into it because I don't really want to know. I'm not just COVID weary, I'm COVID exhausted at this point. Tell me what I need to know. What does this new variant look like? Is it a bigger threat? Is it more dangerous than the Omicron variant?
Yeah, look, it doesn't seem like it's going to change the decision space insofar as what the future looks like. I think the conventional wisdom right now is that if it starts to spread here, there's going to be a longer tail on the infection, but it's not going to be another surge of infection like we saw with these past variants. This new variant has about 40 amino acid changes between the version of Omicron that became epidemic here in the United States and this new B2 variant. It's been around for a while. It was actually first discovered when Omicron was first discovered in South Africa. It just never picked up until now, probably because the other variant got a head start on it. 40 amino acid changes is a lot. That's about the level of mutation between B117 and Delta and between Delta and Omicron. But most of those mutations are not in the receptor binding domain, the spike protein, the part of the antibody, part of the antigen, the virus, that we develop our best antibodies against. Most of them are in what's called the N-terminal domain, a part of the virus that we don't necessarily develop what we call neutralizing antibodies against. So the antibodies and the immunity required from Omicron infection should be protective against this new variant, and that should persist for a period of time. Also, with the vaccines, there's evidence out of the UK that the vaccines, a boosted vaccine, may even be more protective against this new variant, this new version of Omicron, than the old version of Omicron. The UK authorities found that the boosted vaccine was about 63% protective against the original version of Omicron and is about 70% protective against this new version. Now, again, with small numbers, so those confidence intervals may overlap, but nonetheless, it's suggested that the vaccine at least isn't less protective against this new version. So it doesn't appear that it's going to evade immunity. It also doesn't appear that it's more virulent. It doesn't appear that it's causing more severe disease.
Good. Let's talk about that too, because I know the numbers have gone up in hospitalizations for the variant with Omicron going through. You know, a lot of people have gotten it. It's shut down schools all over the place. I think Missouri is the latest place where they've had at least 62 school districts that have been closed, at least temporarily, because of what's been floating through. But I also know a 102-year-old who got it and was fine even after she just got out of the hospital. I know a 98-year-old who got it and was fine. And I know a cancer patient who got it and barely had the sniffles. So how do you kind of shore up all of the cases of all the people we know who are getting it and are not getting really sick with the numbers and kind of put it into perspective as to how dangerous this is or isn't?
Look, it's highly variable how you're going to respond to any infection. Some people have a mild course, some people have a very severe course, and different people have different levels of immunity to this virus, and so it's hard to draw conclusions from these anecdotes. The bottom line is, on the whole, this is less virulent. The reason why we're seeing such big waves of hospitalizations and deaths, we've reached really very high numbers of deaths from this virus, is because just the sheer number of people that are being infected. There's no modern correlate for how many people have been infected so quickly from this virus. We will have infected over an 8-week period, probably 50% of the U.S. population. To compare that against flu, we will infect 10 to 15% of the population with flu over a 16-week period. So there's no modern proxy for what's happened here with the scope of the spread of this infection.